Hello, everybody, and welcome to my Ascension Messages. My name is Bobby Richardson, and I will be your guide for today. Today, I'm going to channel some messages about returning home, really. I am an intuitive counselor and a reader, a psychic reader as well. So if you are interested in any readings or anything like that, learning how to connect more with your soul, what's your soul lineage, messages that you want to be brought through, anything like that, I can channel them through by connecting to your soul. So if you're interested in that, the link's down below, and that goes on my website, Codes to a New Reality. So what else is there? There's a new video coming, and it's Laws of the New Higher Dimensions. So they've brought through a few of these laws, and I've put them into a beautiful video for you guys to listen to. Also, don't forget, there's a beautiful video that I've put together just recently, and it is all about, it is contact with the Pleiadians. So initiating contact with the Pleiadians on this video. If you love it, give me the thumbs up and all of that. But I've had a really good rapport with that one because it's just come straight from them. And I'm really excited to share that too, because I wouldn't do something like that unless I felt a real pull from them or push from them at any case to say now's the time to at least get our imagination in the right place and get us aligned with what actually it feels like for contact with them, which will all lead up to physical contact in the end for those that are meant to have it. Hi, Jules. Good to see you. Happy New Year to you too. 2024. Okay, 2023 was such a weird, strange year for me. It's like all the stuff that I thought I wanted came in, and now I'm realizing what I truly desire is more peace within myself, and I'm moving on towards that. So everything's been turned upside down in my reality as I'm moving on, and that's, I feel it's kind of a vulnerable place to be, but I'm really feeling stronger than myself. And this is why they wanted to bring up 2024 returning home, because and to get us aligned with what home really is and where it all starts from and how it can propel forward. So just to get into this, while I was waiting to go live, I always connect, obviously, with my guides, and they were giving me these messages that were coming through saying, the soul is always at home. The soul is always at home. And it's just our mind or the program that we've been the soul is pulled into that needs to catch up with that needs to align with the soul for us to experience the fact that we're already home, because the soul wants to go on a resistance journey, and it comes through any sort of life form to experience that specific program of resistance through many different beings, many different, there's life form, many different life forms. And there's a choice that the soul takes, because it has it propels itself to move towards moving towards source energy or moving away from source energy, depending on which direction it's taking to expand itself and what adventure it wants to actually take. What movement where it really wants to go in respect of the adventure. So because humanity has been pulled over into limitation of thinking everything outside themselves is the only thing that is more important, we have left the soul hanging, and so there's this side of us that's yearning to go home, yearning to align with our soul again. And that brings, it's like they showed me a desert, and they showed me walking through this desert, and someone who's completely in line with themselves and Earth, Mother Earth, knowing that the program brought them into this body, onto Mother Earth, which is a collaboration or a connection with her, and then walking through the desert and going, this is me, and I love who I am. And then connecting with Earth, and Earth going, I too have birthed you and will nurture you. I'm here for you. And so there's this collaboration that happens where the person walking through this desert, even no matter how far vast it is, will then go, I need this for my body to survive. And Earth will either birth the seeds, birth the plants, or show direction through a dream for that person to take a specific direction. Now, I'm, obviously not going to go walking through deserts. Well, you could, but you'd have to be completely in line with yourself. But it's more, they want to bring it up in that kind of way, because they want to show us that you in your day-to-day life can implement this, where you decide, you realize that you're already home, and that you love who you are enough for Mother Earth to feel that love, and all in your reality to feel that love. So she's saying, the trees are birthed for you. The home is birthed for you. Everything is birthed for you. But it's because, this is why when we call manifesting, aligning, like they say, law of attraction, but it's law of vibration, really. And then that attraction that comes in, of vibrating at the same meet of I am love, going on a journey, and then walking towards each part of your life like that, opens up doorways of other people aligning with the freedom that they're looking for, and then you end up collaborating with them, or they open up their home for you to move into, or they open up their job that for you to take, or that sort of thing. There's an understanding or a strength within one's will that we are already home, and that we deserve to explore that. We deserve to explore wherever we want to go. And if we have caused resistance in our life moving along our path, that resistance is literally showing you that you have hooked into the logical mind's program too much to say it has to go a specific way. And then a resistance will show you you have limited yourself. Again, sorry, I'm just pouring this information through, and seeing where they go with this. But 2024, they want us to return in an inward home, in a knowing of oneself, of magnificence, that you are the goddess and the God within yourself, and you are walking this plane as that, this plane of existence as that. And no matter whether, that's why when you pass over and you leave, you all of a sudden feel this release of, you will feel a lot lighter, because the program of the mind, which is held you in major resistance, has let go, because it has to let go, because you've left that program. But your soul can still hold on to certain vibrational memories, and then it will be born into the same problem again, problematic problem. Or you could say, your soul could say, well, I never learnt my lesson the last time, so now I have to be born through another body to learn that lesson again, because I really want to learn that lesson while I am in human form, or whatever form it is that the soul decides to take. So that means, they really homing me into the fact that we are already home, but we just don't realize it. We don't realize it. And when we come to that point of understanding that we are all, that the soul is already home and it's just us living through a limited program that's kept us small, and we let that go enough. Where were they taking me? Oh, I lost the train of thought. Sorry. I'd lost that channeling. There was something, another message that was coming through. Okay, I'll center myself and come back. Hey, Jules. Hey, Sheree. Hey, Jennifer. Happy New Year to everybody for 2024. The year where we start to realize we are coming home. See, there's a yearning that people have when they are here, and especially if they've come from higher frequencies, which a lot of people that watch me do, of we want a UFO to come along and take us away and take us back home, or when am I going to find my home? It's that sort of feeling of wanting to return to a place while here on this earth. And there's a reason why they're showing me that in many of us now, that is a calling. Where way back, if you were born like in the 1900s or something, that calling was a lot weaker. It was more just running the program. And now we are calling for home. So we could end up doing the most crazy ass things, the craziest things that other people will go, what are you doing? You have everything and now you're not. Now you're leaving. Why are you leaving? What are you doing? Where are you going? Why did you leave that job? What are you doing? But it's because there's a calling to move even more to self-sufficiency within oneself. And that self-sufficiency within oneself is aligning you with home. And so we are then bringing home, or utopia, from within ourselves, of understanding who we are first, on Gaia. And so we make new decisions. Our perspective becomes bigger. Our understanding of our life becomes bigger. We move through our life in a different fashion. We see things through new eyes. We start to recognize we don't have to do the 9 to 5, the work sort of scenario. Humans actually weren't built to do all of that work. We were born to also receive and imagine and discover and invent and move towards new creations, and like a child would, exploring in a sandbox, and then discovering that when they dig a hole, they could actually, with their leftovers, make a castle and stuff like that. That's just an example, but we have, where there's the limitations that we've pulled over ourselves has disappeared. The program that we are in now, we have literally created a program of limitation, and that's what we're pulling out of. So over the generations, we wanted to create the program of limitation, and distrust in there's a distrust that comes with that limitation. And now we have been born to move ourselves away from that, align ourselves with way more. So the pull to go towards returning home within oneself, the power of who we are, the magnificence, the understanding that if we are here in existence in this body, it was meant to be, and we are here on earth, so there's a communication there that's needing to be reconnected, and understanding that she values us enough for us to exist here. We're not seeing ourselves as the V word. I can't say that word because sometimes they take our YouTube off. But yeah, the VIR word. We're not seeing ourselves as that on earth anymore. We are embracing ourselves as more magnificent, as God's walking this planet, because everything is a God walking this planet. It's just that we through the eyes of the soul, we are all that, and then we want to we want to explore something new, so we have to move. Well, we don't have to, but we move through different limitations of programs, depending if you're come through as an insect, an animal, a plant, a bird, or whatever it is. Life itself, they keep on bringing me to life itself is your reflection. So that means it's all been birthed for you. You are the central point of your existence walking this plane. So everything else outside of you is been birthed for you. Any sort of limitations that we have in the outside world that have encroached us as somebody else controlling us is because we didn't see that we had the power to move away from that. And so it is literally pulled in a reflection of the control. And then the control ends up manifesting in a story of that person, that identity, that thing over there is more powerful than what I am, even though we are both source energy, soul going on a journey. And no one is more powerful than anyone else. We are all exactly equal. And that's why we say they always come back to oneness. We are all one in the end, because it's just split into many different fractions of life happening all at the same time. And it's only your concept of your reality that's truth for you. And so someone on the other side of the world could have their concept of reality that's truth for them. And that's fine. But it could be completely opposing your truth for your existence. You could see it as a story outside yourself and you could even follow it. But your truth is literally how you perceive you and yourself and your story. So it's you and yourself that needs to change for your story to change outside yourself. So home is literally us coming back to understanding that we can change and shift our story whenever we want. That gives us more freedom. And then, and it also gives us abundance. Abundance will align with you realizing that it will come and go. It will, it's not something to hold on to so tightly that it limits us again. That's why somebody who's very wealthy still has a lot of issues of trying to protect their assets outside themselves, because they don't truly feel the wealth within themselves, and so they've actually limited themselves in the fact that they need to now spend a lot of energy on protecting that which they have held on outside themselves. So when you truly are in an abundance of yourself, you will walk this plane of earth knowing that you can let go at any given moment, and you can move towards something that, because you've learned that lesson. So when you've learned that lesson, you've expanded yourself, and your expansion will bring in more love, more abundance that you are aligning with, or adventure. And adventure can come in resistance as well. Remember, even the resistance itself can create the adventure that we were seeking. So it's the storyline that we are moving towards. And if you don't like the story that you're in, then you have to look within yourself to change your perspective on who you are, to be able to shift the story. Okay. Thanks, JP. Yeah, they just want to bring you guys up to the truth of what's really going on here. And the limited story that we've pulled ourselves into is only because we see something outside ourselves as value where we don't feel it within ourselves. And that means that other people are then more valuable than who we are. We perceive them as more valuable. But when we come into these higher frequencies, we start to realize there's no one more valuable than any other. We're all walking this path together. There are just those that have limited themselves with devaluing themselves, that they feel they have to control others. And then you, in your own right, given right of knowing that you are equal with them, can go, I will find a crack through this. See, those that are being controlling don't want us to know this stuff, because if we do, even in the system that we have created that kept us on a limited story, we will find cracks within that to be able to move and move through it with delight. And those that are holding us and our imagination hostage is only because we allowed them to, and we saw them as more important than who we are, maybe because they had more outside, abundance than who you are. But the true abundance, if you remind yourself, is someone who can let go and allow the story to flow and not hold on to anything so tightly that it stops you from having an adventure. And that creates the boring stories. And that's another thing that they pulled over us, that if we go towards goodness, if we go towards love, if we go towards all of that, that's peace and all that the story gets boring. It's the total opposite. Everything has been inverted. Everything that they have poured over us had to be an invertation of who we truly are, because the invitation kept us in limited stories. And that's why if you have any sort of story coming at you where it's limited, then where it's saying that's going to keep you, that's going to make a life of boringness or whatever, you have another look at it, because it could be just the program pulled over your eyes. Or that's, say, for instance, the connection to elementals, which is the go-between Mother Earth herself and you, which is the energies of plant life and all of that form their own little life form, that they want to whisper in your ear of, hey, we have a better idea for you. We can see this advantage point. And if you follow us over here towards this, you will find the fresh water. You will find the, whatever you're needing in that time and place. And that gives them their purpose back, because that's literally what they're born for, the go-between Mother Gaia herself and plant life and humanity. That gives them purpose. They stop becoming meddlerism, because their meddling was literally a reflection of us. No, we don't want to listen to you anymore. That makes us look like we're crazy. This person over there told us that we're crazy. And so that pulled us into an inverted situation of never expanding ourselves and connecting to Gaia either. She's coming through quite a bit in this channeling, as well as the CYANIANS. If anyone wants to know who I'm channeling at the moment, a Pleiadian, CYANIANS, and Mother Earth herself are coming through with the elementals. For some reason, they're coming strong in these readings, because there's a new connection that's going to be developing through trusting ourselves again with her, and understanding how to, not just physically how to grow things or whatever, but how to trust that things will grow for us as well. If you saw yourself, and they're showing me this movie called The Last Mimsy, if you ever want to see that movie, brilliant movie, just the concept. Acting could be a little better, but the actual concept of the movie is absolutely amazing. And it has at the beginning a very strong pull towards future Earths that I've been taken to. So that's called The Last Mimsy. Have a look at that one. And so at the beginning and at the end, they do go into the future. And in that future, there was this communication that the teacher, the guide, had with the pupils, and they would lock in together, and the story would move through them all as one whole identity. But that's another story. That's all to do with telepathy. But they also had these flowers that they picked, and the flowers would be birthed in the morning for them to pick, or they will be born and flourish around their homes for them to pick, so that they could create this beautiful mandala. And everything was in flow with releasing, creation, and allowance to grow, creation, and then releasing. Allowance, creation, releasing. And so here's this new dimensional aspect that we're learning about ourselves, of how to do that, go with the flow, instead of doing the polarity game of fighting somebody and being the hero and becoming the be and all of the story, kind of like I am the hero, and then you still go back into someone else is better than me. And so that's the polarity story of the chess game. Someone else is better than me. Oh no, I'm the hero. And so we end up, helping each other climb up that way. But that story is dissolving and giving away to the allowance, creation, creating, and letting go and letting flow again. And moving like that will actually bring us peace on earth, because we have peace within ourselves. We no longer have the resistance that's within our minds anymore, of fighting the logical story or the program that we've come into. And we are now aligning with our true value of the fact that we are magnificent. We are gods, goddesses, and gods going on a journey. And then we take back our power of our history. We have a better understanding of who we are from a soul's perspective. So when you now find home with aligning with your soul and realizing that everything is a reflection to that, then you also bring in all of the history that your soul went on, and that expands you, because your soul has had many lifetimes before, and some of those lifetimes have been in this expansion or been in this higher vibration, where it wasn't unbalanced. There wasn't an imbalance within you. You were at one, you were at peace with who you were. And so you can then tap into that and remember the feeling, the wash, and it literally feels like a high, a utopia, a feeling of clarity. And but it's not coming from any substance outside of you. It's coming from within you, and knowing thyself, and saying to the mind to shush enough to be able to feel into these new vibrations, and trusting the game again. We don't trust ourselves, and so in reflection, the game is not trusted either. The society is not trusted either. The reality we created is not trusted either, because we do not trust ourselves. And so it has to come from within oneself, trusting to be able to move forward through this. Hey Dave, good to see you as well. Didn't expect too many people in the chat bar. So, 2nd of January, everyone's like, been partying up or whatever. I actually had a very quiet night, and that was just because I know, I've been pushed to move forward in my own life. So I have to keep coming back to home of myself. And to do that, I needed to be on my own with my cat. The power that we're going to find from the power that we will find within ourselves is going to be more immense than what you ever thought. It's a progression. There's step by step. Don't fret when you fall back into the mind stories of limitations. That's the only way it can go. Don't fret. Remember, it does have a strong hold on many others out there, and you will, it'll be a movement of going back and forth between. Stay grounded with this. In other words, be living in the moment as much as possible, and recognizing you still need to feed yourself, house yourself. You still need the practical things for your body. Don't go off in a flippant story that takes you away from protecting your body. That takes you away from making sure that your body is safe as well. Because when we go into these higher frequencies, like many that have lost their way, literally lost their way because they went into the etheric world, and they lived another life, but they didn't look after their body in the same aspect, and so, or the physical side of the South in this reality. And so they were, taken away to some, to get some help, because people could see them that they weren't looking after themselves. So that's why it's important. They say keep grounded in the fact that you are your body, your soul is your body as well. It's just as important, because you are living here in this reality. It's just as important as tapping into the beautiful feelings that you can move through. When you are in others' companies, feel into what's the appropriate things to say and do. Don't just go off in an airy-fairy sort of a tangent way, expecting everybody else to understand you. If you understand you, that's enough. Wear that hat and wear other hats around other people, and say, I will always plant a seed for somebody else to grow. And that seed could be something that you learned 10 years ago. And so you're bringing it up around this person. You're thinking, wow, why am I know so much more now, but I'm bringing up this. But this is how we are helping the others that are coming through into this reality. We're helping them more as we go along, because we need to not jump too far ahead of them to be able to help be the guide as well. Just a little jump is enough, and then another jump, and then another jump, remembering that even though when you bring up these stories to you, it might not be the truth anymore. It could still be because you've put an intention into helping guide others. It could be just what they needed to move forward into the next truth and the next truth and the next truth. And remember, truths are fluid. They move with the expansion of our new perspective. So a truth to a benevolent being on another planet would be totally different to a truth to a human that's stuck in this mindset of learning to find balance and peace within themselves again. So even they've had to trust in what they bring through for us to show us the signs or to give us validation of where to go. So also, there's many guides. There's guides that are the benevolent beings that could help you through your dreams, through you getting the pull to say or do something new, or following a sign or something like that. There's also guides that are in human form here to help you, and it could also, guides can come through a human form and say the right thing at the right time, and then they go back to losing themselves, or they might connect to their higher selves just for that moment to give you the next clue to your reality and moving through your reality. And they're showing me it as clues because it's like an adventure where you're finding new things out as we go along. So 2024 and further on to 2026 is literally coming back to source energy within oneself, coming back to home within oneself, and finding that core essence of value of who you are, from knowing in every breath that you're here, and you just being here is enough. I remember when I lost myself, I split up from someone years ago, and I was absolutely devastated, and I went home and I bawled my eyes out like everyone does, and I looked out, and for some weird reason, it's just something that came over me. I started saying, a tree is still a tree. The sky is still the sky. And I didn't realize what I was doing at the moment, but it gave me a peaceful feeling. I was like, why would I say that? Why am I saying a tree is still a tree and the sky is still the sky? It was, now I understand. It's because the program that we've come into with the tree and the earth and the sky and all of that is still around us. So we are still have many, many true opportunities to move through this life through new eyes, through new perspectives, moving forward, moving forward, moving forward. Sometimes people in our lives are only there for a short amount of time or a small smaller amount of time than what we thought, and then they move on, or they could end up coming back because then they learnt their understanding, and then they meet you at a level of acceptance with you as well, through love of self and understanding their love of themselves, which then vibrates with you. You're not alone here. There are many more around you than what you think that are coming up with you in your reality. I literally put up I want to have a cup of coffee with some people, and I have, like 54 people interested. For a cup of coffee. So there's a lot more than what I thought that were around me. Here I am in my little hermit stage, being a Virgo. I love my hermit place, and not realizing how many other people are out here that are aligning with who you are. So just be aware of that as well, that there's a lot more out there that are moving up with you. You're not alone in this. And it's fantastic that there's many, many more that are sparking. So when you see somebody that has some wisdom that might be beyond your capability, just know that it's, don't know that they are in the right place for themselves, that's some reason jealousy come up, then don't get jealous of them. See them as in that moment the one that's guiding, and then they might need somebody else to help them guide through something else. So they're showing me like everybody has specific blockages. Everyone has different blockages, and within those different blockages, each of us has also things that we are really, really good at. So one person could be a guide for one aspect of self, and then another be a guide for another. Someone might be really grounded in this reality and understand all about business and how to create wealth outside themselves and that sort of thing, and then they come into alignment of themselves, and they recognize that true abundance is within them, but then they also have this value of how to implement the tools outside themselves as well, so they can share that with somebody else, just to help. But there will be alignment with you and your abundance to bring that in. But also they're saying to me, don't forget to remember, don't hold on to anything. Just keep flowing with this story. It might feel like it's taking you to the wrong place for a while, but they're saying there will be a core essence in yourself to know that it's the right move, and it's a brave move, and it's an expanded move, and even though you're literally jumping off a proverbial cliff into an unknown story, you're jumping off that cliff knowing who thyself is, knowing you are home within yourself. And so wherever you land, then it will reflect that value, true essence and value of who you are. And then the next jump that you make, you might have learned something from that, and then the resistance come in and you learn whatever that value is, and then you jump again, and then you jump again. The reason why they're saying you jump again and you jump again is because they're bringing me more and more closer to source energy who lives completely 100% in the moment of just love, essence of love. And then we can, the logical mind that comes in has its value of, we understand the value of that, of projecting this outside world of material world, that we can play with it from the aspect of love, and not seeing our outside world as something to fear anymore, to be afraid of the next turn. And that fear is the blockage that the limited mind had to say it has to go a specific way. And if it doesn't go that specific way, then you are going the wrong way. No, the soul is expansiveness in itself. Hey, Sasha, good to see you. So see if there's anything else coming through. If there's anyone that has any questions in the chat bar, You're most welcome to ask. There's a lot pulling for us at the moment. There's a lot of benevolency around, a lot of, for some reason, angelics. I've never really tapped into the angel side of things much in my life, because I'm not really religious at all. Oh, well, not religious at all. But for some reason, there's this softness, this understanding of humanity's history more so than others. There's an understanding of humanity's history that's coming through. And so they have very important things to share as well. I might even be able to channel them eventually as well. I certainly am feeling it. And it's really bizarre because I pulled out these 2 crystals that I have been hidden in a box, and I unpacked the box just randomly, and everything's wrapped in papers, and these 2 crystals came up, and I now put them in front of me. So it's interesting. And a fluoride one. So for some reason, I put them just here in front of me, and I'm like, okay, don't know why I'm doing that, but we'll do that. And now I'm starting to feel this angelic pull. But they're right next to moldavite, a moldavite piece of crystal. So it's very, still has that alienish but very gentle feel about it. The fluoride one, fluoride, whenever I wear fluoride, for some reason takes a blow for me, and it'll break when I need to release some very negative energy. That has happened to me in the past. So if you're finding a negative energy around you, I mean, you do what you need to do, but I wore fluoride and it broke just randomly, like 2 or 3 times when I was dealing with my own massive fears. This is years and years ago. We're talking 1999 actually. But for some reason I need to share that with you guys as well. So if you're finding anything sort of demonic-y feeling around you, because you are learning from that demonic feeling the power of who you are that you have resisted within yourself. But sometimes we need help. Yeah. Can you explain lamentable energy a little more? Lamentable? Oh, elementals. Sorry. Elementals. Oh, the elementals. Okay. So the elementals energy formed from plant life, Gaia, the elements. That's why they're called elementals: fire, water, air, earth. And they came into being, and so they have their own little world. It's very fast vibration, higher vibration. Whenever I've met them, like when I did meet them, my mind sped up. So when I looked at my body went very slow motion, and then I saw a being. And I've also met them as they come through as a little energy sparks that move. Like, yes, but they are the go-between. They have been created sort of like a communication for humanity to tap into. It's sort of like, say for instance, an oak tree wanted to talk to you, and yes, you could tap into the oak tree, put your forehead on its bark and just breathe through, and then tap into, or even just sit next to it and just tap into it, and whatever you decide feels right for you. And then the oak tree can bring in its messages of understandings of, it's seen a lot more of humanity's history, where your life might have only, your life's only seen the 20 years or 30 years or the 40 years of it, and you might have a little bit of your history from your relatives, where the oak tree might have seen more, and it might be able to bring in more of your history if it was growing in your backyard, that sort of thing. But the elementals, it's like the tree itself, because the communication happened so much between humanity and Gaia back in the many eons ago, Atlantis, Lemuria era. They ended up forming their own identity as energy of a go-between for humanity, and so they sort of they can pop into existence. They can also merge back into the tree itself, and they can pop into existence for humanity to converse. They live their own life. They can live their own life, and it's a different sort of a vibration. Yeah, there's a lot more to the elementals, because there's so many plant lives and so forth that we can now converse with again. There's so many different types of elementals as well. They all have their own personalities and their own little essence of where they've come from, and that they can share wisdom with you. Yeah, I think that's a little bit. I see energy sparks. Yes, they can come, and when I've seen them, they've come in little jagged energy lines. They've come in sparks in the forest, like literal sparks. They've also come in actual human form to show up for me to see them in their human form as well. Humanoid form. And they also hold information to moving into these other frequencies and dimensional spaces for humans as well. They really did become meddlesome, but that was only because we didn't listen to them anymore. We saw them as, if you can imagine a child, right? And then that you just say, that child doesn't exist. That child would start becoming mischievous. Just think about it that way. That child will want to pull on you and get your attention. And then if it doesn't through love, it will do crazy. It will do stupid things. And, just come on, guys. We're here. We do exist. That sort of thing. So in the history, just recently, we've got a lot of these fairy tales that are very meddlesome, but their general purpose is a go-between for us to communicate to plant life and Earth herself. The Pleiadians had a very big part in helping that connection happen, which is where the elementals come from. Cool, JP. I'm glad you understand a bit more. You get that. And they can also come from crystals as well. They are energy that can help us communicate. But they can also have their own life. And they love being around the mushrooms and stuff like that, because mushrooms are a very quick life in themselves. They do the fairy rings. I did a big awakening for the elementals three years ago or something, and I asked to be shown fairy rings, just so that when I did this awakening energetic meditation to help awaken many that were going to be go-betweens, those that are born in human life, that have come straight from the elemental life. So there's quite a few of us that have come straight from the elemental life, and they need to be reawoken. And I said, when the elementals start dancing around them, they'll have more communication, understanding of who they are. For for me to say, yes, this is actually happening, I actually have helped. I wanted to see confirmation of fairy rings. And honestly, I went driving around, and this was a week later, never seen so many fairy rings. I took photos. I've got photos of all these fairy rings during this time. Like every street had a couple of fairy rings down it on somebody's property. I'm like, there's an elemental born in that house. And that's because when they started to communicate with me, many years ago before that, when they showed up as visions, like I woke up and saw them, and they were talking to me in my mind and that sort of thing, I had massive fairy rings in my backyard. So I already knew that the mushroom rings, and these mushrooms are like dinner plate size mushrooms, just popped up overnight after having that experience. I knew that the mushroom rings was a great indication that they are there. Just seeing if there's anything else. Oh, that's interesting. So there's some ancient wisdom coming from, if you walk into a forest that has hardly been touched or hasn't had, if you walk into a forest, there is great wealth of wisdom and information there of the history, true history of everything on Mother Earth, and pools of magic coming through. Ancient curry, the trees in New Zealand, Milford sounds are showing me, Marlborough sounds, which my parents actually have land in Marlborough sounds, but more Milford sounds, and also spaces in Queensland and Australia. Some awakening is happening not because it wasn't there before, but because the humans are now waking up to their own calling, and they will be able to tap into this information again that's coming from the giant trees and the ancient forests and the so there's more stuff going on there as well. Hey, Lindy from UK, good to see you. Just coming at the end. Happy New Year to you. You'll have to go back to the beginning. So don't forget too that I am an intuitive counselor if you want to have a session with me. And I do have a couple of more videos coming out, and please go take a look at the video that I just published a couple of days ago, and that is initiation to communicating or having contact with the Pleiadians. They wanted me to bring it forth, so I did, and I love it. I love it. I love it. So it takes you into a meditation so you can start to feel their vibration, and you can rewatch it, that sort of thing, because it will bring you into alignment whenever you want to come into alignment with them. You're late and you just finished work. Well, it's early in the morning. I'm about to start work. It's 10 to 8 here. Okay, I think that's about all for today, guys. So good to see you guys here on the chat bar. I know it's New Year's and, everyone's doing their own thing in the holiday season, but I wasn't sure if I was going to do today, and I just woke up and went, no, I've got messages. I have to come on. Thanks, Peter. Oh, thanks, Peter. And Happy New Year to you as well. And thanks for all your support, guys. Thank you for all your support throughout the year. I am so, so grateful. I feel like last year was just a holding bay for me, just holding myself through a transition. But I feel like everything will expand soon. So I'm really excited about 2024. Yay for 2024. Yeah, I think that's about it. So from us and to you guys, love you all. Until next time. Bye.